ride the roads hereabouts, you can hardly miss signs like this for Expedient, talking about the mold monster. If you listen to the radio, you've heard the commercials. If you read the newspapers, you read about Verona Berglund, the woman who itched all over, had trouble breathing, migraine headaches, and it was all caused by the mold monster. In this program, you're going to learn a lot about the mold monster and the really disastrous impact it can have on your health, your home, and your family. This could be your house any place in America. It's the place you come to mend the raveled sleeve of care. You enjoy your garden and all of the niceties of your home. But in this particular house, there was a problem. And the problem was right down here in the basement, in the crawl space, because there was a monster growing in there. And that monster darn near killed Verona Berglund.
I started in 2001 with a multiple of symptoms that a lot of them could be traced back to having a mold problems.
The symptoms were?
Oh, I had itching, all different parts of my body, bowel issues, hormonal disorders, just there's a multitude, there's a huge list that each person experiences the mold reaction differently.
Now you're a registered nurse.
Yes, sir.
So these symptoms for you were A, alarming, but B, you know, you went to your resources, right?
Right, right.
What did they do for you?
Diet, so I had to change my diet, and I was on a medication called Nystatin, 16 pills a day for years, and then when that didn't work, we went to Diflucan, and it just kept going on and on.
Nona, your story is so interesting because it was your doctor who actually pinpointed what the possible problem was, but then unfortunately could not get rid of the problem. Huh?
Right.
Tell us the story.
Well, I went to him one day and he said to me, after he was prescribed medication that I've been on for a number of years, and he was just getting stronger and stronger, he said, "You have mold in your house." And I knew we'd taken care of all the mold upstairs, but had no idea that it was the downstairs until Expedient. I spoke to one of their employees and they said, "Your basement." And so they came, tested the basement, found the mold problem, came with dehumidifier for the basement and a filter upstairs, and within 3 days I started noticing a big difference. I mean, they were very responsive. He came one day, next day the remedy had already been started. And then I decreased my medication, started going right down. I never had to use the inhaler, and today I'm almost symptom-free. Just have to be very careful watching my diet.
So what's the take-home message here? Do we stop living? Do we stop enjoying our lives? Do we sell the house? No. But we listen to what our bodies are telling us, and yes, the medical community tried to help. They were not successful. The only way that this problem was remedied was by calling Expedient. If there's somebody in your family that has symptoms that would seem to indicate that they have allergies, that's probably the best way to describe this. Allergic reactions. Big sometimes, small sometimes, but allergic reactions, you need to look and check that it's not mold that's causing the problem. We're talking with Rich Wasvari, and he is the president of Expedient Environmental Solutions. And if you think this doesn't affect you, I'm going to wait till you hear the answer to this next question. I've already asked the question off camera. What percentage of the homes, Richard, that you go to see have some kind of mold issue?
Well, nearly all of them have some sort of mold issue. Whether it be predominant now as a threat to the occupants or not is another issue.
Yeah.
Whether it has the conditions which are conducive or required for growth is the main issue, and then how does it manifest itself? Does it allow the mold to become amplified and spore more frequently and then impact people or the building?
Okay, so we really are dealing with two sets of issues. One is it can ruin your home or ruin your business, but I think more importantly it can also ruin you.
Sure.
All right. So let's take that question just a wee bit further now. In the case of Verona, that we just spoke with her and saw what she had to say. This is a woman who was basically almost at death's door with this.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, she not only had a problem where the mold would cause her a structural issue, no doubt, like you had mentioned first, but the more insidious was the fact that it impacted her health. It impacted her health gradually, And then more seriously is her immune system became more deficient and the mold became more aggressive.
If I'm a person who thinks that I have mold in my house, or even if I don't think that I have mold in my house, which you probably do, even if you don't think you do, what should I be looking for physically as a telltale sign that I may have this problem?
Well,
what's it doing to me, and how am I feeling?
Well, I mean, any kind of allergenic response, whether it be problems breathing, waking up with stuffy nose all the time, medications that your doctor wants to put you on, or that you're going to get over the counter, they may be an indicator.
Now, I've had allergies basically all of my life, but I've lived in 200 different places.
Right.
What's going on there?
Well, mold is 100% of the time an allergen. So whether you have a large or a small concentration of it in your structure, it will help you take those pills. But if you have more of it, and there's a lot of it, and it's of specific types, it can do more than just popping a couple allergy pills.
We're talking with Rich Vosveri. We're talking about mold remediation. Before you get to the remediation, however, one has to determine whether or not there's sufficient reason to remediate. We'll be talking about that. You stay tuned right after this message.
Beware the mold monster. He can ruin your home, property, and your health. Want to know if the mold monster is living with you? Call Expedient Environmental, and for $99, we'll send one of our expert mold specialists to investigate. If there's mold, Expedient has the tools, knowledge, and experience to stop the damage and get rid of the mold monster. Go to our website for more info or call 845-229-1437 for your mold inspection appointment. This message brought to you by Expedient Environmental, your best defense against the mold monster.
A few moments ago, we saw an interview with a woman who was severely impacted by the mold in her home, and she went to the doctors, and the doctors basically gave her pills. I'm not, sour grapes on doctors, obviously. The doctors gave her pills, and what she said in the interview was that it helped the symptoms, but then new symptoms would emerge.
Sure.
Is that a typical pattern that happens, Rich?
Well, it can be, because your body gets hypersensitive to a problem after a period of time. It impacts you. It has a cumulative effect. There's 4 main categories of mold. There's roughly 100,000 plus known species now, but there's 4 main categories. Those consist of being allergenic, pathogenic, carcinogenic, and toxigenic. A good way to look at that is almost like a pyramid. You have more allergenic than you have pathogenic, you have more pathogenic than you have carcinogenic, and so on. But different combinations and types can impact someone's individual susceptibility to them. In other words, everybody has a different immune system.
Right.
You may encounter more things that bother you than me. But over a period of time, and depending upon the type and the quantity of their exposure, then comes their impacts.
And what's interesting about it is that you never know when you're going to get an acute attack, something that you may have lived most of your life, and then all of a sudden it happens just like that. Watch.